Hey guys, how's it going? Well, you know, a couple years ago I made a video about a Volvo that I bought and owned briefly. It was a 1999 V70 wagon, a non-turbo. And after messing around with that car for a little while and trying to get it running, could not get it running. And I made a couple videos about it. Here's the link to one of them right here in the Google results. That's one where I just demonstrated trying to start it. And then I made one that I gave kind of a lengthy speech about why that I would never buy another one of those. And so, you know, I'd like to make this video to kind of clear up some misconceptions about that previous video. I don't normally do follow-ups like this, but I think in this case it's justified because I've gotten a lot of negative comments on that, why I would not buy another 99 or later Volvo. And of course they're all from Volvo owners, and generally the trend has been in the comments that's been anywhere from, well, you know, I should just fixed it in my garage, they fixed theirs in their garage, I didn't know what I was doing, what do I expect from a cheap car, what do I expect from a car that's that complicated. Like I said, I'm from the South. I don't know, since I'm lived down here, I guess I don't know what I'm doing. You know, just on and on and on. But the general trend has been that there's nobody that has offered any solutions to that car's issues. And there's also been the trend, obviously from the comments, that people have assumed, and you know what assumed means, that we just got out there, that we're just a bunch of Neanderthal rednecks here, that we just got out there and tried to turn the key and we didn't know what was going on and the car wouldn't start and we got mad about it. Well, let me kind of clear that up for you. That car had some serious issues. I don't know what they were completely. I don't know what caused them. I know what they were. That car had a bad ECM, and it had possibly had a bad mass air meter, or it either had a bad mass air meter or it had a bad electronic throttle module. And so the point of that video was not from little old stupid me getting out there and whining that I didn't know how to fix that car. What the point of that video was that most everybody either missed or ignored. I think they probably ignored, is probably the more likely scenario, ignored the fact that it's just me trying to warn people that are considering buying one of those cars, especially a 99 or a 2000. I think later ones even have problems also, but maybe not to that extent. Buying one of those cars as opposed to buying a 98 or older Volvo, what you could be in for if you buy one of those. So that, you know, I don't mind comments, and I kind of enjoy the debate with people a little bit, as long as it doesn't turn nasty. But I want to clear that misconception up right away, because we're not stupid here. We knew how to fix that car if it was possible. But the problems that car has, and problems other Volvos like that could have, you know, they can't be fixed here in the driveway. That was the point of that video. And I guess that's rubbed people the wrong way. You know, it's like something that people know, and they don't want it brought out into public knowledge. Maybe that's what that was, but it is public knowledge, and I'm going to tell you why. If you make the mistake of buying one of those cars, a 99 or a 2000, and I don't care, I've heard people say many times, oh, I have a 99 or a 2000, and I stuck some bubble gum in this and it started running again, or I have a 99 2000, I've got 200,000 miles out of it and it runs perfectly. Well, that's fine. There's a lot of those cars that don't have problems. I'm not saying all of them do. I'm just saying what could happen if they do, what you're in for. Now, the disposition of that car, since it was not a turbo, I almost had to give it away. I couldn't get somebody to buy that car down here, because even the stupid rednecks down here in the South, they know about those cars and they'll stay away from them. So let's look at a couple, 3, 4, 5 web pages here real quick, and I'm going to justify why I made that video, and then you can tell me if I'm still full of shit. Now, when we got that car, we knew that it would start and run for a couple seconds, then quit. And the first thing we tried to do before we ever had it hauled in and put on the actual machine as a last resort what we did was we tried the fuel pump mod, which means you take the fuel pump relay out and you jump the connector, so anytime you turn the ignition key on, the fuel pump runs. That did exactly 0. So it wasn't that. And I had people guess at this. People say, well, maybe it's the fuel pump. It wasn't the fuel pump. What it is, and even people that have Volvos seem to be missing this crucial fact. That's an automatic shutdown. That's a security feature, because even vehicles that are not Volvos can do that. I've seen other ones like Trailblazers and some other kind of vehicles do that thing. They'll let it run for a couple of seconds, and then if it doesn't have the right code coming back from the key or the key antenna or whatever, it's the transponder there at the ignition switch, then the computer shuts that thing down. And that's exactly what was happening with that Volvo. That's the subject of that video. And people have ignored that. They're like, well, you just didn't know what you were doing. Well, the hell I didn't know what I was doing. We tried everything. We tried the fuel pump relay. We tried a new antenna ring. We tried going through all the connectors for the security system. We tried all that, man. It wasn't that simple. We tried resetting it, putting the silly thing about putting the key in the door and turning it lock and unlock 5 times, and then that kind of crazy nonsense. And then what do? Run around the car and chant and stuff like that, lay hands on it. And it turned out in the end it was for naught anyway, because the thing would never ran. It had a bad ECM. Somebody had already been in there, so and I didn't lose out on that car. I got out of it what I put in it, so don't feel sorry for me like you ever did. So anyway, here we go. Let's look at a few of these web pages real quick. Need device on replacing 99S ECU. Yada yada yada. ECU ECM. Throttle body question. Think of getting, please help. It's SA no start. ECU problem. SA won't start. Something like 98. That's a 98. That's unusual. But I clicked this page here. This is on Matthew's Volvo site, which is a pretty good Volvo. See, we even use the internet down here to look up for problems. Imagine that. It's in limp mode, and I'm not going to show you the whole thing, but it sounds like a ETM or mass air sensor. But there's a real crucial thing to read here. ETS light. Yeah, well, that's bad news when you hear that come up. Anyway, there was a bunch of guesses and stuff like that, and blah blah. Let's see. I don't know why, but over in Volvo they seem to think that a used ECM cannot be swapped over even with reprogramming. The VN is somehow wired into the ECM. Well, you're exactly right, it is. They made such a draconian, like I said in that other video, I'm going to echo myself, they made such a draconian security system on those things that I guess they thought nobody would ever have to replace a ECM on one of those. Can you believe that? And then if you go, let's Google start then stop. Let's see. Car starts 2 seconds, stalls, won't restart. Starts right up, then dies. 99 Volvo starts, then dies. 99 S80 starts, then stalls, need help. Car loses power, then stalls. That's a newer one. 2000 S80 starts, then stalls. 01 V70 starts, then stops immediately. It's having a problem starting. The car starts and immediately dies. No, 2001 X70 XC V70 XC starts, then stalls. Starts, then dies almost immediately. 99 S70 T5 starts up, then dies. Not antenna ring. Suddenly wouldn't run. So you think I'm making this up? All you people that have looked at that video and bitched me out, you think I'm making this up? There's your evidence right there. That is in plain, right on the screen there. You see how bad a problem it has with those cars. And everybody wants to say, "Oh, you just didn't hold your mouth right on there. They're real delicate." Yeah, they are. Alright, so what if you get one of those cars, unfortunately, and you get one of those that has one of these, that jewel right there, that's your electronic throttle body. That means there is no cable connection to it. It's all electronic. And here's another thing that people have bitched me out about on that video. They say, well, cars got electronic throttle bodies, and they, it's just technology and stuff like that. Like, You poor little sucker, didn't you understand that? Look, guys, I know about electronic throttle bodies. And what's funny is I had a cheap-ass Suzuki Reno with one of those that ran perfectly. I've had other cars with them that ran perfectly. The reason why this went bad on the Volvo is because Volvo fucked it up. That's why. It has nothing to do with whether somebody understands how an electronic throttle body works, okay? Nothing to do with it. It's that Volvo, let me say it again so it really causes a pain to shoot up your back here. Volvo fucked it up. They wouldn't have to sell these things, and they wouldn't have to rebuild them, and they wouldn't have to replace them under warranty if they hadn't fucked it up, okay? So let's look over here. I'm not going to, you probably can find the website. I'm not going to show these people's name because I don't have permission to, but this is a place that either rebuilds them or sells a pre-programmed. That means that, see, these things have to be programmed. Did you know that? A throttle body has to be programmed. Now, that's nothing voodoo. That's like any of them. But when you get into any kind of device like this on a car that has to be programmed, then that's cha-ching, 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 expensive. Okay, so what we're all getting back to on this is we're talking about a car that's not worth a whole lot of money anymore. Now, I know the Volvo snobs don't want to hear that either. You know, oh, they're worth $10,000 to them, but they're not. Those cars are worth not much. They're worth about a 99 or 2000 is worth about $2,500. Down here, they're not worth about half that. But so anyway, we had over here the price on one of these. If you buy one for one of those cars, and you have to pay for it, and you don't send them a core. A core is your old one. Let's look over here. We charge a core deposit fee to ensure the old defective part is sent back to us. Core fee $100. Options total. Your grand total for that thing there, is $599 for one of those electronic throttle bodies. Now, I just had a viewer comment on that other video I was telling you about, the one that I lectured everybody about Volvos, and he says, well, I just paid $900 for an oil leak. Yeah, that told me everything there. Okay, now what if you have to get that dealt with at the Volvo dealer? And you remember, like I said, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm wrong as it can be, like anybody wrong, but we're talking about reading a blog post here. All Volvo did is we contacted aware of the problem. I bet they are. They all said it could be fixed for around $1,000 after a mandatory 2-hour inspection at the dealership at a cost of $89 per hour. Volvo Chattanooga, $99 per hour. Clayton Volvo Knoxville, or $105 per hour. Dyer and Dyer Volvo at Chamblee, Georgia. And see, Volvo tried to patch that up at first. What they tried to do, that ETM, they tried to reprogram it. So I guess it wasn't as sensitive. What happens is those things, I guess, have a throttle position sensor in them, and I know some of you don't know what that is, but a throttle position sensor is essentially, it's a small variable resistance type of a switch. It's not really a switch, it's just a sensor. I mean, it's got a wiper in it, and the computer sends probably about a 5 or 6 volt reference signal to the TPS. TPS also has a ground, and then it has an output. So variable resistance along this wiper. So as the throttle opens, it may permit at first at idle speed, it may get 5 volts in reference, and it may send almost a volt back out to the computer to let it know where your throttle foot is. That's very basic, where the throttle blade is positioned at. That's why it's called throttle position sensor. So as that thing opens up, it comes along this little wiper, and the way it's designed is it passes more voltage the further open the throttle comes open. So at wide open throttle, it may be permitting about 5 volts returning to the ECM. It's a very simple system. All fuel injected engines that have electronic fuel injection should have a variation of that. And there again, that's not a problem. And what, here we go again. This is the thing that people have, they want to, on that particular video, they say, well, you should expect things like this, or you should. No, I don't expect things like that, because I've had all kinds of vehicles that have had electronic throttle position sensors that didn't fail like that. And the problem is with this dude is that they're, you can probably, that's probably it right there, and they can probably be fixed. Well, normally I would think they would be fixed. You could probably fix one, but I think this thing wears that. There's something going on with this, and I admit I don't know all there is to know about it, but there's something about this, the way this thing is constructed or programmed, that is not quite that simple. So where we're getting to, let me wrap this up finally, but here's the deal with this. I'm making this video because the first one pissed everybody off so much. I'm going to make another one to piss people off even more. I know you don't like hearing the truth, but here's more truth in this video for you. It's not Tyler making it up. It's not Tyler having a vendetta against people that have Volvos. It's not any of that. I'm just warning you, again, you better know what you're getting into with one of those cars, because if you buy one cheap, that's how everybody buys one cheap, then, if you have an electronic throttle module go bad, or you have an ECM that decides to get corrupted, or you let somebody work on it that doesn't know any better and they try to start swapping out electronic parts, you're in deep shit. So I just want to tell you, sorry for the word there, but my buddy here, my YouTube buddy Robert Spinner, I'll give a shout out to his channel. It's called Robert DIY, and Robert has made quite a channel out of fixing Volvo problems, of which there are many. So that's not, not a slant against Volvos. Some cars just break more than others, I guess. And so go check him out if you like Volvo repair videos. He's a good source for it. Seems to know a lot about them, but you will not find many 99 and up Volvo videos on his channel, because he don't mess with them. So, in fact, I think the quote was from him is he hopes he never has to have one of those cars. So if you have one, I'm glad for you. I'm not ever going to tell you that you shouldn't enjoy it, but I would do this if I were you. I would keep my fingers crossed that it stays running and you don't have to sink any money into it. If you like a more reliable car, then you can buy one like what I bought after the Volvo. I bought a 98 Infiniti that's well on its way to 250,000 miles, and it's got all the electronics that the Volvo had, and it's just as complicated and it's just as expensive, yet it has had none of the failures that a freaking Volvo has. So that's what I would recommend, or a good Honda or a good Toyota. Or if you have to have a Volvo, buy a 98 and older. They don't have all the problems the newer ones do. So anyway, I hope you either enjoyed this video or it further aggravated you. Either one's fine with me. So thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good one.